you about aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration, the first step of it, which is named as glycolysis. Glycolysis happen in the cytosol of the cell, begin with a molecule which is made up of 6 carbon, and this molecule which is made up of 6 carbon is named as glucose. Now, the glucose undergo 4 steps in order to form pyruvic acid. What happened in the first step is that this glucose, which is made up of 6 carbon, will take 2-phosphate. The 2-phosphate, they take it from 2 ATP. So 2 ATP are used in step 1 of glycolysis. Now, after that, what happened in step 2, the molecule is made up of 6 carbon will split into 2 molecules. Now, each one of these 2 molecules is named as PGAL. Now, PGAL oxidized and the NAD plus reduced to form NADH. After that, in the final step, which is the 4th step of glycolysis, 4 phosphates are released to form 4 ATP. So the net gain of ATP from all this process of glycolysis, it's only 2 ATP. Now, the 2-pyruvic acid will, if the organism is eukaryote, they will go from the cytosol and enter the mitochondria. They pass the mitochondrial outer and inner membrane and start acetyl-CoA formation, or the breakdown of pyruvic acid, which happen in the matrix. This is the outer membrane and the inner membrane. The pyruvic acid will go to the matrix, and inside the matrix it split one of the carbon to form CO2, and the 2 carbon that remain, it form NAD bind with to form NADH plus H, and it bind with an enzyme which is named as CoA enzyme. After that, they start with Krebs cycle inside the mitochondrial matrix. What happens is that the enzyme will split and the 2 carbon bind with a 4 carbon molecule. This 4 carbon molecule is named as oxaloacetic acid, which is important for regenerate or operate the Krebs cycle again and again. The 4 carbon molecule is named as Krebs oxaloacetic acid will bind to the 2 carbon of the acetyl-CoA molecule, and then finally they form a 6 carbon molecule which is named as citric acid. This is the first step of Krebs cycle. In the second step, they split one of their carbon as CO2, and the remaining molecule, it's made up of only 5 carbon. And also here we have NAD will reduce to form NADH plus H. In the third step, what happened then again, they split one of the carbon and form CO2, one of the NAD form NADH, and they form a molecule which is made up of 4 carbon. In this step, in step 3, they also form 1 ATP from ADP. In the fourth step and the fifth step, again we have the 4 carbon compound convert to another 4 carbon compound, and we have another molecule which is named as FAD, acceptor of electrons. It's also convert to FADH2. Finally, this 4 carbon molecule, again it form another 4 carbon molecule which is named as oxaloacetic acid, and the NAD convert to NADH plus H. Now, all of these NADH and the FADH2 that are produced here in Krebs cycle, they go to the final step of aerobic respiration, which is named as electron transport chain. Electron transport chain happen here in the inner membrane of the mitochondria. And in the electron transport chain, most of these ATP, NADH, and the FADH2, all of them, they convert finally into ATP. How? By releasing electrons and protons. So the NADH provide electron and proton to here to the electron transport chain, and also the FADH2 provide electron and proton. What happens is that the electrons will move here in the electron transport chain from one molecule to another molecule, and finally they go toward the oxygen, while the protons, they are pumped outside of the inner membrane and they go from the matrix to the outside. So we say the pumping of the proton happen at the first in the first or the initial steps here from inside the matrix into outside of the mitochondrial inner membrane here we will have a high concentration of proton between the outer and the inner membrane, while inside the matrix is low concentration. Finally, from high concentration to low concentration, they go again to inside the matrix, and when the protons move down, the ATP synthase start to work and start making ATP by an enzyme named as ATP synthase and by a process which is named as chemiosmosis. All of this process happen inside the mitochondria in order to make ATP.